This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to talk about what we're seeing going on around America today, which is social engineering at its finest. I want to talk about social engineering. I want to talk about how important you, the listener, especially if you're someone in your teens, how important you are to the future and how much you're needed to raise awareness, to make people understand what exactly is going on here, because as always, the elites are using and manipulating children. Now, we know how they really use and manipulate children and what they do to children, but now they're taking their abuse of children to a different extreme where they're using them as bait. They're manipulating them through social engineering, and they're using them to influence and brainwash the rest of the people out there who are also victims of social engineering. Now, for those of you who don't know what social engineering is, I recommend looking into the Tavistock Institute. But really what it is it's centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. So in other words, it's creating things and events, right? And then pumping it through the media to create social change. So let's use Time's Up for an example. All these women coming forward. This is every TV show now, right? Since the Time's Up thing with Weinstein, all these men have been outed. All these women are rising. All these TV shows, the theme of the show is women's empowerment. They're bringing back shows like Roseanne and Murphy Brown. This is all social engineering to get the females out there riled up against the men. And they're using this same stuff with the Valentine's Day situation to get across their agenda of pulling the Second Amendment, as well as playing around with and trying to pull the First Amendment, which is only really working on people such as myself and others out there who are getting the truth out, because they're taking our First Amendment away. But the zombies out there don't realize that they're also working on doing that right now, because they are allowed to have free speech out there. Because remember, if you disagree with anything, it's hate speech. So what we're seeing today is all of these kids are marching and leaving their school for 17 minutes. Found it pretty interesting because you could see their coding right in broad daylight that the kids are wearing orange. Must be a coincidence, right? Orange 33. All these kids are wearing orange. CNN reporting on why they're wearing orange. They're trying to say it has something to do with like camouflage, or how hunters wear orange out when they're hunting deer or something like that. Just more mockery, more, trying to give a fake excuse so people out there don't wake up to this stuff. But they always coordinate this stuff with numerology, color coding. And that's why they're wearing orange 33. We know who's behind this. And you're seeing all of these students now across the U.S. walking out of their classroom for 17 minutes, chanting things such as NRA, hey, hey, NRA, right? The kids are banding together. The kids are the ones making the change. This is a social engineering agenda. Through these events, what they've done is they've taken some of these people, and I'm trying to say this without, without confusing anyone, but you also know that I can't say certain words or I'll get flagged for hate speech. But they're taking these individuals, such as let's say the Hasselhog, and they're rolling them out on all these mainstream shows, right? And then they're giving the impression that they're more mature than the parents, than the adults out there, and they're the ones who need to make change. Then they're rolling out the Oprahs and all the talking heads on television, Jimmy Kimmel, the politicians, and they're saying, it's amazing. This is like the civil rights movement. These kids are going to change the world, right? And all of the kids in other schools around the country are hearing this and seeing this, right? Doesn't mean they have to have plants in the school or DeMolays in the school. This is how massive mind control operations work. These other kids are being influenced by this on social media, all over the television set. And they're saying, we should do something about it. Hey, let's be activists. Let's get together. Let's all walk out for 17 minutes as well on this specific date. And it spreads like wildfire. That's how social engineering works. And this is what the elites use on the masses to create these types of events. They will create a lot of what would we call them now? FFs. Does that make sense? Events. They'll create a lot of events. Let's just say that. Okay. Where things don't really occur, but they'll tell you they occur. And the whole goal of it is to get everybody on board with it, to follow along with the plan that they want. And this is the plan that they want. They want the children doing this stuff. They want the kids who saw all the events go on to march out and protest the NRA. They want it to spread all over the media. They want it to continue to spread so more schools see it, more kids see it, and more kids want to be activists and want change. Now suddenly the kids are coming after the parents. Now suddenly the kids are the mature ones. Now kids are coming after Congress. And people are vulnerable when it comes to children. Look at the children. Nobody wants to see children abused or children hurt, except for the elites, because they're the ones who are doing it, not just through social engineering, through these rituals that they perform, which I constantly talk about. We know exactly what they're doing to kids, which, I'm not going to get into detail now, but you understand where I'm going with that. Now, you, the listener, who is a teen, a lot of you got kids, teens message and write on the message board or the comment section. Some will say, I'm in school and I'm watching this and stuff like that. You're the ones who are needed to prevent this stuff from happening in the future. Because guys like me, I don't know what I can do anymore. I'm not in the best of health, even though I should be healthier than I am with my blood pressure and things like that, to lead some type of a movement. You guys are the ones that are needed. You're the ones who are needed to make people aware. You're the ones who are needed to make people aware of Scripture, make them aware of Jesus Christ, because they're going to be eliminating that. We're seeing that little by little. You are so important. And you are going to be so chastised. You are going to be so outcasted by everybody out there for not going along with this stuff. And it's going to be difficult to do. But that's why, when you listen to this channel, I hope it helps you stand up for yourself. I hope you realize, you don't have to go along with this stuff. You don't have to be bullied by them into thinking that you can't speak about these things or you'll be called, all this stuff. It's like the opposite. Everything's flipped, right? Let's talk about the bullying movement. They don't want anyone bullying, but they bully people like us. Don't let them do that. Bully back. Don't be afraid to stand up. Don't be afraid to tell students and classmates what's going on. You know why? Because you're the last line of defense. You and the generation below you. Who knows what this place is going to be like if we're even around 20 years from now, 30 years from now. But you're needed to prevent this stuff from happening, making people aware of what's social engineering. Look into Tavistock and the testing that they did there and that they use now on America. This is social engineering is all psychological. Figuring out what they can do by doing this. What will it create as far as a reaction from everybody else, right? So if we do A, right? If we do this, if we create this event and we do all this stuff around it and we have everybody gone on the TV, what will the rest of the people do? Because that's what they want. They write problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. They want the certain reaction, and then they come in with the solution. So all of this stuff you're seeing going on right now. I know everybody says, well, it's all these. No, nobody's going out, nobody's protesting, and nobody's doing this stuff. They're all hired actors. That's not true. That's not true. Are people hired or are people used in some of these events? Of course. Are a lot of these people who are getting TV time after these events occur, part of these secret societies? Of course. But the rest of the people out there are influenced through social engineering to get on board with this stuff. They join groups like Antifa. There actually are people who are part of these groups who aren't being paid because they're brainwashed and showing up at these rallies, right? Trump rallies, Antifa rallies, all zombies showing up. The same with what we're seeing today. The same with what we're seeing with Time's Up, right? It's nothing more than psychological, massive mind control. They are trying to persuade you and influence you and tell you why, right? Through celebrity, the power of celebrity I always talk about. That's why I expose it. One of the reasons, because they use these people to influence people for social engineering. Right? So if Kim Kardashian and Oprah and all these people, these kids are such heroes. You don't think 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds at home watching are going, well, I want to be an activist too in my school. And then all the commercials about self-empowerment. You got kids just being empowered all over TV. They're using these children for these movements. They have no shame, the elites. They rub this stuff in constantly. Children are always the victims. And now they're using the children as their next chess move against us for gun control, for free speech to be removed. So you, the teen out there listening, you are so vital and so important in this movement. You are more important than me. You're more important than anybody else out there speaking on YouTube, because you're right in the fire of this social engineering experiment, which is being run on you, your classmates, and everyone else out there. You are needed in this. And yes, you're needed to spread the word of Christ and to make people aware of the truth, but you're also needed to make others aware of this, because as they try to silence people like me and others out there, who's going to be left at what point? At one point, you're not going to be able to look and go, oh, call for no, I'll be gone. Don't allow yourself to be a victim of social engineering. Think critically for yourself. Every time you see something go on, go ask yourself, why are they doing this? And what do they want to get out of it? Right? And we saw what they did on Valentine's Day. We know what the agenda was behind it. And now we're seeing social engineering at its finest, because everybody's on board. All of these kids who are easily vulnerable, manipulated, who want to fit in, who are seeing them, seeing all these other kids on TV now talking about it, getting all this airtime, being called heroes. They're calling on them to become heroes and do the same. So they're doing it. They're becoming heroes and, getting applauded in their local media. This is how they manipulate. This is how they work. It's nothing more than psychological. Everything in this life that we see going on is psychological. They're playing with us all the time. They're playing with our heads around the clock. We have spiritual warfare going on, and we have them playing with us through the media, through these events, playing with everybody's emotions all the time. So don't fall for it. This is the march today, and this is not hate speech on anyone. This is a call for people to be aware. A call for awareness today instead of a call for an uprising, to be aware of social engineering and see how it works, right? And again, they're marching in orange, 33, right? They always leave that. They always leave their calling card, right? It's like Home Alone and the Wet Bandits, right? They always turn the water on or whatever. Everyone leaves the calling card. Yeah, they always leave theirs. You'll always be able to see it. The numerology in the articles, just like September 11th numerology with the time and it's all always there. Because people don't think that way or see things that way. We need more people to see things that way and think that way. Don't be a victim of social engineering. Because through social engineering, this New World Order continues to form and take place. And we'll continue to lose our rights as citizens. And we're doing every single day, we're losing more and more rights, whether you know it or not. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.